Hello friends and welcome back. It is Spicy here and ready for another episode of this season's Bowling League. Today, Girl Power is taking on Team Spinner, which is Richard and Anthony. So, without further ado, you know who I am and you know what I do, so like, subscribe, and hit the bell too. And let's get started. So first and foremost, my battery was at maybe 49% when we started. So I was like trying to rush it through League this week. And yeah, it actually wasn't the best week for me, but at the same time it was. You'll see though. So yeah, here we go. This is Richard, I believe. And I had just come from an interview, so like dressed a little bit cuter. I switched into jeans, but I had like work pants on. And I believe this is Anthony. So something I noticed when I'm bowling recently, that it's like a correction I received from Juan, and I feel like I'm starting to kind of forget it in my body, is when I take the first step in my stride or my approach, I lean forward too much and it kind of messes up the ball's natural swing. So rather than having this smooth flow back and forth, it goes dum dum. And then the rest of it kind of becomes that same disjointed approach. So it's pretty crucial, and I noticed it when I was editing the video today, which is also really why I like making these videos, is because it's an opportunity for me to review my footage and improve. There's Anthony.
Nope, too much.
This oil pattern in these lanes today too were so tricky. Like, it was quite the struggle. It's like kind of dry, and I think we were all playing on the same path, which might have affected all of us as well, because we all had some pretty rough games, I'm not gonna lie. There were not few, but like fewer than normal spares for all of us. Richard and Anthony both have about a 140, 150 average, and I have a 140 average, and we all were not in those numbers today, so it's a little rough, as you can see on his face. So yeah, it's the same kind of issues as far as the layout goes with the boards in the lane as well. The outside 5 boards are really heavily oiled, so there's absolutely no way that you're gonna come out of a hook from there. So you kind of have to keep it close, but then if you start coming in too much, then the lanes dry out and your ball has way too much hook. So it was a big issue. Like, there were so many near misses because the lane like dries out probably really marginally at the end, would be my guess. Let's see. That one was a little too end over end. Very straight. Yeah, I would say it's probably pretty heavily oiled for at least the first 2/3 of the lane, maybe 3/4. And then it just like dries out, like flat dries out. I was watching another video on YouTube. I can't remember the YouTuber's channel. I'll have to look it up and I'll put it in my description down below. But it was an amateur and a professional bowler bowling in dry lanes. And it was honestly like the most peace of mind I've ever felt, because I've sitting here like with my average, what it is, it's, you know, it's pretty good, but like I know that I'm better and I've bowled at other lanes, but you just don't really appreciate how much of a difference it makes bowling on dry lanes versus well-oiled lanes until you're bowling on a dry lane and you're not getting the spares that you normally get. So watching that, it really made me feel a lot better about how I'm playing. So yeah. But there was a gem of wisdom from the amateur bowler, and he was saying that he threw the ball really fast. Like he had a lot of power behind his swing, and that was helping quite a bit. And he had the better game of the two of them. So I'm definitely going to be taking that approach moving forward. So I'm going to throw a little harder, and I'm also going to make an effort to not drop my shoulders as much on that first step. Really keeping my shoulders kind of locked in their place or their alignment, so I'm not kind of pulling forward and back. And then we also had a bowling lesson with Juan again on this Sunday, so I will have that video up shortly, and I'm very excited about it. And Juan's piece of advice that he gave me most recently was to stay balanced at the end of my swing, so I've really been working on that. And I feel that the best approaches that I've had recently end with really well balanced positioning and posture. Like that one right there, my posture was a little bit not aligned vertically. So like if you're familiar with a plumb line, a way of measuring like a vertical line with gravity, my plumb line on that one was very askew. I was kind of like this with my balance, with my left shoulder and my left foot. They should be a little bit more aligned upwards. Even though my body is on a natural tilt because I'm pitched to the side, I should still keep those pretty straightly aligned. And like that one again, I did the same thing where my alignment is there. I also noticed, I've been watching a lot of bowling videos on YouTube recently. I noticed that professional bowlers tend to have the ball skim right past their left foot. If their approach is right-handed, the ball goes right next to their ankle. So I think that that's something else that I could work on as well. But the trick with bowling too is you don't want to take on too many changes at once. You want to make one change at a time. That way you can really understand the consequences of that change and if it improves or decreases efficiency on your average bowling. A lot of really good throws happened throughout these 3 games, but it just was so frustrating. The ball would just not go where we wanted it to. Except that one did. That was a good 10 pin. Oh, so this must be the 10th frame because that was Anthony's 3rd throw. So game 1 results, let's have a look at them. I got 111, Richard got 122, and Anthony got 117. Girl power, 208 scratch score, total 347. Team spinner, 239 scratch score with 324. So girl power 1, team spinner 0. Game 2, let's go. Richard's up first. Oh, that was a really nice path. Really close to a strike too. Just that 7-pin didn't want to knock down. Such is life. Ooh. And there's a prime example of the lane being pretty dry in the back there, and the ball just gets a little too much hook. And then another example there. Not quite enough. So it must have been tapered again, but that taper must be pretty close. So maybe shorter range taper. And the lanes were pretty dry in the back, so if you keep it in the center, then the hook happens later. And if you keep it over on the right, then the hook happens pretty immediately. So it's definitely tricky. Oh, nice 10-pin. That looked like it barely made it, but it made it nonetheless. A little too much on the outside there. So it started out well. If you can see the arrows, I'll do a zoom in right there. And the goal is to hit the 10th board, which is the second arrow if you go from right to left. So I hit that arrow really nicely, but the ball was traveling a little bit outside of that rather than hitting the 10th arrow straight on and then hooking. It hit from an angle and it kind of just kept going straight. Did not have much hook there because it's getting into the outside 5 boards. Anthony just had the same problem. And that one was a little bit too much on the inside. That hit the 15th board, and you can see how much it hooked. Anthony was on, I don't know, maybe the 12th or the 13th. Again, too much hook. Oof. A little bit on the outside, not enough hook. Oh, that was a very nice shot. Oh, that one for sure should have been a strike. Really nice lineup. Maybe with a little bit more rotation or power behind the ball, it would have definitely got a strike, but at least I got the spare. Those are the worst when you throw the ball and it's kind of center, you know, a little on the right maybe, and then right at the last second it just like that and hits one board or one pin and you're just like little on the outside, but he still got some hook in that. Oof. Well, at least he had one pin. That was luck. Nice. Oh, and there's the strike I wanted. It's a little on the outside for Anthony. And it shows because he didn't get the 7-pin there. Could have been a Brooklyn. Got a split. It was so funny. At one point in the night, Richard told me, he was like, I think my ball is camera shy. I told him, I was like, yeah, mine is too. Just tonight though. Tonight was a rough night. One of these days though, I'm really hoping it happens during the tournament because that would really help. I'd really like to win the tournament. Would be recording me getting like a 194 game or something like that. I have bowled those before, but not in league, not when I'm recording it. So, yeah. Actually, I did record a 194 game once, but I think I deleted the footage at this point. And I also don't have the lane talk screen grabs to like actually show what I did, but I think I got 4 strikes in a row, and it was a practice game. But hey, it counts, just like Anthony's strike. Or no, that was Richard's strike. That throw was so end over end. So whenever you see one of us doing this, it typically means that they threw the ball with too much vertical rotation, where you want to add some of that axis rotation. So it's rotating on a tilt so that when the ball hits the dry part of the lane, it hooks and it starts traveling in that direction. Too much friction in the back of the lane means your ball hooks early and it goes off and misses the pocket. That was really nice. Not enough hook there right at the end though. My face says it all. That was a really nice shot. Too bad it wasn't an actual like full-on spare conversion pickup. That would have been so cool. That's a tricky shot to make though. See, when I'm bowling this, I'm like, oh yeah, it's pretty close. But in reviewing it and watching it, that was a really nice strike on Anthony's. I watch it though and I review it and I'm like, that really wasn't close at all. Like, I'm bowling in the center of the lane. How can I expect to get a spare or pickup or whatever? Too much. Too much in the center once again. So yeah, I think once I get those alignments worked out though, it's going to be a lot better. Specifically getting the ball close to my foot, making sure I'm not throwing my shoulders forward. I've already said it twice before. I'm sure you know what I'm trying to say by this point. That was a really nice spare pickup. Too much. That must be his spare ball, Richard's, because it's got great rotation on it, but there's not a lot of hook going on, so that would mean that his ball is symmetrical. So the amount of rotation that he gets, or the flare, is very marginal. When I got my ball too, I really liked it because it didn't have a lot of flare, so it's a lot easier to be consistent with it. But I was recently gifted a couple of balls from a friend on League. His name is Stone, and he gave me a couple of his, I think they're Storm balls. I need to look up the exact names of them and figure out what their flare is and all of that fun stuff. I need to get the balls re-drilled as well, so I'll have the thumb slug. Okay, so here we go. Game 2, Spicy, 108 pins. Richard's pins, 123, and Anthony, 107. And as you can see, we had a grand total of 4 strikes shared between the 3 of us. That's bad. Game 2 results, Girl Power. Grand total 344 pins. Team Spinner, grand total 315. Putting Girl Power at 2 wins and Team Spinner at none. So let's go game 3. That was a nice throw. Missed the pocket. But yeah, so Stone gifted me his balls that he's no longer using. I'm really excited to try those out and just trying to figure out the best pro shop to take them to have them plugged and re-drilled. So I'll be doing that soon. One of the balls is 14 pounds, and if the box is correct on the second ball, then that one is 16 pounds. I could be wrong. I would honestly love to play with a 16-pound ball. I went from a 10-pound ball to a 14-pound ball, and a lot of people were kind of upset by it. I consider myself to be a strong individual, and I kind of insist on showing that So if I can bowl with a 16-pound ball, I'm gonna flex on you that way. Like, when you have a heavier ball, it's a lot easier to get a strike too. So if you can handle the weight, by all means, use it. So that's kind of what I like doing. And I think it kind of intimidates people that I'm pretty ballsy, pun intended, when it comes to adding weight to my ball. So I hope it's 16. But yeah, I'm excited. I got new balls. I'm gonna practice with them, figure them out. It'll be fun. I'll probably show them to Juan too on Sunday, and I can get some of his expert advice and opinions on what I should do. That would be a super great idea, and I am gonna save that. That's not too bad. That was pretty good. Nice, it was a good strike. See, you can always tell from the release, like, okay, good balance, good alignment, it was in the right track, hit the right board, at the right angle, it's gonna be a strike. Unless a pin is like stubborn or there's not enough rotation in the ball. You can tell. Nice, that was good. That was lucky, but it counts. It always counts. Nice. 2 spares. Team spinner. But not a split for me, and I'm thanking my lucky stars that it was not a split. Especially a 7-10 split. Like, you can come back from like a 4-9 where it's like the pins are like this, so you can hit this pin and it'll ricochet. But a 7-10 split, they are like here. Like, it is, I think 4 have been recorded on competition television total ever in PBA history, which is like few and far between. So they're really tricky to make. Probably, I would say it's probably the hardest shot. Nope. No. Nope. That's pretty good. So whenever you see people stomping like that, they're trying to knock down the pins that are left remaining. Sometimes the pin will kind of just bobble like that. And like, you kind of tell yourself that if you stomp hard enough, then the pin will knock itself over. There's a lot of like weird superstitious things that bowlers do. Like, you see Richard right now, they kind of like lean with the ball too. Like, oh, I wanted to travel that way. Or like, you're trying to change your perspective so it looks like the ball is hooking more than it is. Another superstition kind of thing is bowlers don't bowl when somebody bowls a split. So if somebody bowled like a 7-10 split on their first throw, the person bowling next to them in that lane will not bowl until they do their second approach in the frame, which some people believe in and some people don't. But it's like, when, oh, that was a nice strike. When people do bowl during that split, it's like, oh my god, he's not scared. Like, what? I really thought I had that one too, but I didn't. I did not. So disappointing. But yeah, the split one. So like, if it's your first throw and they just finished their first throw, the working theory is that you will also bowl a split because you bowled right next to somebody who just bowled a split. So, yeah. I kind of believe in it and I kind of don't. If I'm having a bad day, then I for sure won't do it. If I'm having a good day, I'm kind of like, I think I'm untouchable. So I'll just do it. But yeah, today was I was very touchable today. But I was still winning every game, so that was pretty cool. I got lucky with my handicap. So yeah, sometimes you're lucky and sometimes you're not, but today I was lucky. Pick up. So Richard is now looking into the ball return because his ball has not come back. These are a little bit, you know, they're not the greatest. Look at that strike. I knew it was a strike from a release right there. I knew it was a strike from the release. But we started to notice that our balls were getting stuck in the ball return. And because these aren't the greatest lanes, it's something that we'll have to address, so you'll see that here in a second. We had to ask our friend Matthew to come help us get our balls unstuck, because you can't bowl if you don't have your balls, and once they're in there, not coming out. That's good. Ooh. See, there was another one that should have been a strike, but that pin was just like, you thought. So there's Matthew, he's coming in. I thought that was kind of cool to watch though, so I thought I'd include it. But yeah, he has to like, what you see right there is the track for the ball return, so he had to manually go in and lift all of the balls out because one ball got stuck, and then all of the other balls started lining up behind it, but it wasn't getting to the part where it returns it up, so it was just sitting there underneath. Not enough hook. And there's that 7-10 split. That wasn't too bad. I mean, you could see where he was going for, where he was trying to ricochet the pin, but it just didn't quite work out. And I think this is the 10th frame now. Not the greatest result for Richard there. I had a great 10th frame though. This is about to get good. Look at that. Look at that alignment, that balance.
Yes.
Good strike. Spicy's back. She's feeling better than ever. I think that was my 4th strike at this game, or my 3rd. It was my 3rd strike at this game. Was it? I think it was. We'll see in a second. Look at that. Oh, that was beautiful. I think that was better positioning, but I was less balanced on that strike at the end of the swing. And that was a great shot. I thought for sure it would have been a strike for Anthony, but once again, the pin was like, you thought. I knew right from the start. I was like, no, that went way too center for it to actually be a 3rd strike. I have this theory. Okay, so here's another one for me. There's no superstition about it, but I psych myself out every time I get to a 3rd strike, which is called a turkey. Oh yeah, that was my 3rd strike. So I got 4 strikes total this game, which is pretty exciting. So I have a 132, Yelly once again, 97, Richard 136, and Anthony 113. Final results, Girl Power 368 total, Team Spinner grand total 334. So Girl Power 3 wins this week and 0 losses. The last time that happened was a while ago. So yeah, it's a pretty good week. I do not feel like I deserved the wins just because I had such a horrible week as far as like my averages go. It was the lane, to be quite honest. I know it was like my mistakes as well. I'm not gonna say that it was the lane's fault that I played poorly, but the lane conditions definitely made it really difficult that day. And like I said, watching these videos, it makes me feel a lot more clear-headed on what I feel I need to do in order to improve my game going into the last week before the tournament. And I will explain what that looks like once we get there. I'm very excited. Last season's tournament was really disappointing. Kevin and I were on the same team at that point, and we had lost the first game, won the second game, so we were tied up, it was down to the third game to move on to the next round, and we lost by 1 pin. At the very end, it was like, oh my god, it was so gut-wrenching, because it's like 1 pin that could have come down anywhere, and it didn't, and it's just like, ah! So anyways, I'm really hoping that that doesn't happen this time around, but as you have seen, I will probably be playing alone, and it's really difficult to win if you're consistently getting the same score every time, because your average is 220. So basically I'm playing with a flat 220, whereas, you know, in order to increase my average or to increase the numbers, the scores that I'm getting, then I have to bowl better. I have to get a higher score. So I'm really hoping that I will peak in the last week and not next week, so that my handicap is still pretty high going into that last game, and then hopefully I'll win the tournament. So wish me luck. Keep me in your thoughts. Vote for Spicy. It's not anything you vote for, but vote for me. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Anyways, I'm very excited about the upcoming events. And as always, I want to thank you for sticking around to the end and watching the video. Thanks for being here. Thanks for continuing to support this channel in whatever way that you can and or will. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, hit the bell, and do all of the fun things. It's free. It's a very big help to the channel. It lets me know that you like what I'm doing and lets me know to continue going in that direction. As you know, it's a hobby channel, so I'm going to keep doing my hobbies, painting, dancing, and bowling. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye, friends.